towards the end of that section, let's see if she put it where she put it. Yeah, in the back tab, go just kind of skip to the very end, you'll see these flyers. It's good. The Regions Trust Cash Sweep. This is a daily liquid money market fund. It's collateralized 105% over $250,000 by all U.S. governments, and there's a chart in here. We'll show you what the collateral looks like. But it'll pay you 8 to 10 basis points. Okay, but the money's liquid every single day. So you would carve out whatever money you want to go into this immediate liquid section. That would go to this type of a product. Okay, not a big interest rate return on it, but you know, it's liquid every day, and we can sweep money back and forth between that and say your DDA accounts, the checking accounts that you would use to.
Well, we're interested in higher interest,
Okay.
and we have this amount of money that's available that we can tie up for a number of years.
Okay.
We call it the Washita Hospital Fund.
Yes.
Money that we received when they sold the hospital.
Okay. Okay.
We're looking for secure, bond type stuff that may produce, and then we'll have to determine how much we're gonna put in there.
Okay.
But,
Do you have that money earmarked for anything?
No.
That's been here forever.
it's an emergency type
Emergency,
situation.
okay.
I mean, if you look at it, it's about
Well then,
2 or 3 months of operating.
because y'all are restricted,
during a disaster time, so.
if you flip the page here, you're gonna see this government-only enhanced cash strategy. And we can even go further out if you wanna do something different than this. Not knowing what your liquidity needs were, this is more of a short-term bond portfolio. This is actually an ultra-short-term bond portfolio. And what it is you see up here on the right, it's 68% Treasury notes and 32% agencies. We can actually go in and build a portfolio for you guys that will actually, is a little different than this, depending on if you have this money and you're wanting to have it out for, I don't know, 5 years?
10.
10, okay. Well, then we can go out on the yield curve a lot further. The 10-year Treasury right now, for example, is about 2%. That's real exciting, isn't it?
It's better than what we had.
We're looking at a staggered type situation.
A laddered portfolio.
Where it's not all your eggs are in one basket,
Right.
but it's staggered and it's, I don't know, 1 year, 18 months, 6 months, up to 10 years.
Well, that's what we can build a portfolio for you like that, where you can stagger out, we call it laddered, but you can ladder out the maturities in the portfolio from, 0 up to 10 years. We don't have any flyers on that kind of thing because that's a custom portfolio. And the yield on that is going to depend on how much money you put in each place. And because you guys are restricted to governments and agencies, you're going to be, a 2% or less yield. The 10-year Treasury's at 2.2. So
what's your take on interest? I mean,
well, interest rates are going to go up at the end of this year, and this is something you need to be aware of in a bond portfolio. When interest rates goes up, the bond values go down. So if you guys are subject to public reporting and subject to public criticism of the market value going down, then you need to be aware of that. Because let's say you put $4 million in a portfolio today, and we ladder out these bonds and the overall yield, I don't know, I'm going to say it's going to be 1.5%, okay? That's your overall yield. That's the interest that's thrown off on an annual basis. And you put in $4 million. Well, if in 6 months rates tick up like we think they are in the third quarter of this year, 25 basis points, That 4 million is now gonna be worth 3.8, okay? Because the bond values are gonna go down. If you're subject to public criticism because you, quote, lost market value, then you need to be aware of that, because this is going to happen.
Yeah, we can't take that.
So we
chance.
shouldn't have.
Can't do
It's
that.
not, it's not that you've really lost money, it's just the bond values from a market standpoint are down. Now, you're gonna own all these individual bonds, and as long as you hold those bonds to maturity, you're guaranteed your principal and interest back from the government, because that's basically what y'all can invest in.
If
Government's
you
an
sell out early,
agency.
you're gonna lose it.
That's right, but if you come to me and say, hey, we gotta have $2 million out of this portfolio in January 1 next year and rates have gone up, you're gonna be subject to the market risk that's
Until
associated
maturity.
with it.
And
Now-
that's where you want short term.
That's right.
Maturities to keep you from having to be.
That's exactly right. So what's gonna happen here is you start out with some 3 months, some 6 months, some 9 months, and 12 months, and as those mature, then they rotate. You know, this whole portfolio is constantly rotating, okay? So you always have some short-term money on hand that's not as much subject to market risk. Because within 12 months, you're gonna, you know, the market risk on the interest rates is very nominal. But if
So if
you,
we invest in short term, like we're talking about, that, we wait till maturity, the interest rates have gone up, that's gonna roll into something higher. So it's just gonna ladder into something
that's exactly
higher
right.
as interest rates.
The more money you have on the short end of this, the lower this number's gonna be.
Right.
But if we just invest in short term, are we just gonna be investing in 0.85, 0.90? Are we gonna be able to get 2%? Are we gonna be able to get
The 90-day
3%.
treasury is 22 basis points right now, 0.2.
0.2?
Yes,
So we could get 0.2 in short term?
yeah, 90-day treasuries, and then you gotta, you know, whatever the cost is to manage the
I
portfolio.
think you'd have to balance these out a little longer
You
than
will have to.
60 to 90
Yeah,
days.
I
It's gonna have to be 1 year to a year
You
and
know,
a half.
It's hard explaining to people who aren't in the business now. You looking right here, this is 100% government portfolio. This is a very high quality portfolio. The 5-year number on it is 68 basis points. For the last 5 years, there's no return in fixed income markets. The government is not paying any money on their deposits. They don't need it, they don't want it. And so they're not paying anything for it. And you guys are subject to by law to only be able to invest in government assets. Now, how do we get this up? Yeah, if we went into and added corporates into this, for example, I'll just show you, you're not allowed to do this.
Can't do it.
No.
There's no point.
Well, just, you need to understand, my point for showing it to you is you need to understand where the return is. When you go into a portfolio that's half governments and half corporates, that 5-year number goes up to 157. You know, you can't do this because you can't own this portion of it. You have to be in a portfolio that's like this.
I think the way you go, it all sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not any
The bottom line is, with the restrictions y'all have, you know, it's, you're handcuffed. And I will tell you, some of these smaller banks will probably give you, some better rates on CDs.
Right now, we're getting 0.5 is the highest we're getting on CDs.
See, that's about, to be honest with you, and you know, I'd love to manage money for you. That's about as good as you're gonna do on a 5-year deal. I mean, you can earn a little bit more than that, as you go out to 10 years, but 10-year treasuries, you know, even if you had a total portfolio, if you had all 10-year treasuries in there, which you're not gonna have because you need this laddered type portfolio, you're still gonna be in the 1.5% range, minus whatever the cost is, which is usually 20 to 25 basis points. So you're gonna be at about 1.25 to 1.3% net yield.
No, we're actually getting 0.85 on our 5-year now. We got them staggered.
I'm curious, we got this from Bank of Bank.
Mhm.
He's saying he can get us this kind of money, and why can't we get that kind of money from him?
These are federal home loan bank deposits.
And farm
These are
market.
agencies.
And whether we can legally do that.
Yeah, you can do this.
But it was, we kinda made the determination, I don't think we wanna go any farther than about 10.
Okay.
And we don't wanna get stretched out here 20 years.
What's he gonna charge you to do this?
He said that it would go against the yield, that he would sell us to us at par.
Yeah,
What does
so
that
you
mean?
got a broker selling it to you. That means he's buying this. Par is, you put $1 in, it costs you $1. In the bond market, the way that industry makes money is they mark up the price at, so if you're paying $1 for a bond, you may pay $1.10, and they take that 10 cents.
So he's buying at premium and we're buying at par.
And that's how he's making money. Is he's telling you, well, I'll buy you these at par. What he's doing, he's only actually paying 95 cents for them.
Okay.
And he's making whatever their spread is on it.
Sure.
Okay, I don't know what that is. He's buying them at $1, but he's selling them to you for $1, but he's paying less than that for it. Okay, so it's probably bonds that they have in their inventory. They inventory securities, and they've had them in there for a while.
And this is Banker's Bank.
Okay, well, it could be, that's okay, they have a brokerage license.
Okay.
So,
They
Who's-
know what they do.
who'd y'all talk to?
Renee.
Okay, I don't know yet. We actually manage money for them. Indeed, okay, it may be.
I was just curious if that was something.
We can build the same type of portfolio with the same type of securities. This is all treasuries. This is 68% treasuries. There are no treasuries on
Okay,
here.
those are bonds.
These are all agencies.
Right.
Well, treasuries are bonds too.
Oh.
Okay. You have treasury bills, treasury notes, and treasury bonds. The differences on those, in that terminology, is the maturity time. Under a 1 year is a bill, under 5 years is a note, and then a bond is beyond that. Okay, so it's just terminology. Yeah, we could go out and build you a portfolio of all agencies, and I'll just have to go back and pull all the agencies and look at them and get our portfolio managers to look at it, and I can tell you what it will be. But it will be very similar to this.
What would be the fee? Would you do it the same way?
Yeah, normally on a portfolio like this, we charge a quarter of a point,
Or-
25 basis points. So if your yield ends up being 2%, then you're gonna get 1.75, you know? So we're a for-fee manager. We don't do any commissions, you know? If you're in a brokerage firm or in a brokerage environment, they're gonna do this type of thing. They're gonna buy it at some price and then mark it up and sell it to you.
Okay, but when you do like you do it by wire, do there a fee for wiring, like the interest on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis, is there a fee there too?
What you talking about, to make a transfer to your checking account of the interest?
The bank itself, Regions itself.
Do you bank with us?
Yes, we pay,
No, we just transfer from one account to the other. There's no wire involved. You're
There's no
banking with us.
fee?
So when the interest comes due, we set that up, like on this deal. And if the interest comes due monthly, quarterly, we want that transferred to the county. And so that's what she's asking.
Yeah.
Are you gonna
We
charge us?
We just transferred over to your checking account. It's an internal transfer.
If we have a regional's checking account.
Cause he's
Yeah.
saying we have a $15 fee.
yeah, right now Regions charges $15 for a wire.
Yeah, but that's to wire money to a foreign
No, income
No.
for us.
forward. When I say
Who are you getting wires from?
When I say foreign, I mean
Well,
outside.
we stopped, we were getting wires from somebody, that we started getting the $15 charges, so we called them and said, hey, stop wiring.
Yeah, yeah. No, this won't be a
No,
wire.
Won't be a wire.
You would
That's
be-
what I was asking.
no, it won't be a wire. It's an
Just
internal
transfer.
transfer. I can see, in our division, I can see the accounts that you have. We just transfer money from one to the other. So basically, we just set up the account so that when interest is paid, it gets swept out to your checking account, okay? So when I say sweep, it's an automatic transfer over to your checking account. I can either set up the accounts when we manage money, we can set up the accounts for the interest to be reinvested, or we can have it swept to another account, or we can have it ACH'd out to another account, or we can have it wired out to another account.
ACH is what fast.
It's internal,
Yeah.
it'll be automatic transfer. You guys don't have to worry about that, we'll move it.
What we're looking for, and we're looking at 2 or 3 different companies.
Mhm.
We're looking for the best deal we can.
Sure you are.
So far, I don't know if we're gonna be able to compare apples to apples here between the 2 or 3.
Well, yeah, we could build a portfolio similar to this, and you can compare apples to apples.
Yeah.
What you need to know is what his pricing's gonna be right here.
Yeah, we didn't.
And they're not gonna tell you that.
Right.
Well, we can ask.
So, yeah, you can ask. Brokerage type firms, which I'm really surprised the Bankers Bank is doing that, but, in a brokerage type environment, they're gonna tell you what you pay for the bond. They're not gonna tell you what they pay for the bond, okay? So.
That's
they're
why I
not-
said his commission was coming out of yield.
That's right.
That's what it's doing.
That's right, that's exactly right. So
That's what it's doing.
he could pay 85 for this bond and sell it to you for $1, or he could have paid 98 for that bond and sell it to you for $1.
That's how much money he wants to make.
That's right, how many points is in there and that's driven by this number right here, what your yield is on that. That's what it's driven by.
It's probably part of our downfall. We're a little bit too transparent sometimes.
Yeah, we're-
on, you know,
We're a little bit different, we're a trust department, and if you read your regs, you'll see that your deposits have to be in custody of a trust department bank in the state of Arkansas.
And registered with it.
That's right, registered with all the, and, you know, we're that. So even if you bought these from them, you have to be deposited into, a different type of account, okay? So, now most of the brokerage firms go ahead and get registered with the state of Arkansas so they can hold their own deposits. So, but it just depends. Some of them are. We manage money for lots of different state agencies and state retirement plans and things like that. Now in the retirement plan market, they've got a different set of rules. They can buy stocks and bonds, and
Right.
they're pretty much open to whatever. But for this purpose, I would need to go back and put together, you guys, a full portfolio of agencies only. And what an agency is, it's a division, it qualifies as a government bond, but it's an agency of the U.S. government. So you have like Federal Home Loan Banks, you have Sallie Mae, Jennie Mae, Fannie Mae,
Farm credit.
yeah, you got Farm Credit, you've
no
got.
Sally Mae's?
Yeah, no, so-
You got all kinds of stuff.
That's what these are, right there.
But we have to pay
These are
tax.
Federal Home
We
Loan
have to
Banks.
pay tax on some, so we don't.
Well,
have
that's
to pay
another
regular
question.
tax on-
What do you gotta pay tax on? Y'all
He
know?
said we had to pay tax on agency, that were like school bonds, county bonds, water bonds.
Who's he?
Julie, you
Renee.
should do it.
Oh,
If you do
If you do
a
something
school
that's not
bond or
federal.
something, it's non-tax, it's taxable income.
aren't y'all a tax-free entity?
Well, not necessarily all the time.
The answer is it depends.
You gotta look and see what you pay taxes on and what you don't.
The other thing y'all are allowed to invest in is municipals.
Yeah.
The yield's gonna be lower on the municipals, but you're gonna have a tax-free feature to them. So the taxable equivalent on municipals is sometimes greater than what you can get in a taxable bond. So it would be, then we would need to know what is your tax, what types of things you have to pay tax on versus what things you don't have to pay tax on. So
Well, that's
who would we
We'd have
talk to
look
about
into
that?
the state.
The state?
We'd have to look into it and find out,
Okay.
we get the information for you, but, I mean, we don't know, this is kind of an adventure for
Okay.
us, and we're just trying to do the best we can to be good
Yeah.
stewards of our money.
Oh, sure. The investment policy y'all sent me is Randolph County. We would help you guys develop an investment policy for Garland County. That's one of the services that we provide. We do this. Yeah, these are federal home loan banks. This is federal home loan banks and federal farm credit banks.
Freddie Mac and
Yeah.
all that, Fannie Mae or whatever they
Yeah.
are.
And if you remember about 3-4 years ago, that there was all this stuff on the news about Fannie Mae and not Sally Mae, but Freddie Mac, which is all the federal home loan products, and that the government having to step in and bail them out for mismanagement and all that stuff. Well, all the Treasury did is just print some more cash and shove it over there their way, you know. So yes, all the agencies in this portfolio and all the treasuries in this portfolio are government-backed securities. So it's gonna be a higher quality. These guys have to pay a higher yield on their bonds than the Treasury Department does, because they're an agency. So they pay a little bit more interest on their bonds because they're not viewed as an equivalent quality to the U.S. Treasury. Now, they have the backing of the U.S. Treasury, but they're not the U.S. Treasury. So everything that falls on this side of the portfolio is U.S. Treasury. We can take a step out and build a portfolio that is 100% government-backed agencies, and it's gonna look like this, and you're gonna get higher yields for it.
Why don't you do one like this,
Okay,
do one kinda like you got it broke up right there.
yeah. You're gonna,
Let's compare the,
we can build whatever you need. That's the
Well,
bottom
and we
line.
have, and later, we may have other funds that we wanna do for less than 5 years, because legally, we can do other funds than, you know,
we
if
got
we wanted to.
specific funds, balances that are within inside the county.
Are they gonna collateralize these
Restricted
for you?
funds.
They have to be
They have to
collateralized.
be.
Okay.
Yes.
They said they
What
would.
are they charging you for that?
He didn't say he was charging us anything.
Well, he kind of alluded to it, cause he said something to the
There's a
fact
cost
that
to
we can work
collateralization.
with you on those fees type thing,
Pinning
so.
down to
Yeah.
find what those are.
There's a cost to
Right,
collateralization.
Oh,
big
yeah,
time.
'cause
Okay.
that costs too.
But we
This
can't
is-
do this without it.
That's right.
No,
So
yeah.
all of our stuff will be collateralized.
Be up front, open,
Yeah.
and show us what you're
Yeah,
doing.
this is what our collateral portfolio looks like. It's Fannie Mae's and Freddie Mac's, which is exactly what you have here. So it's 100% U.S. agencies. And what that means, and everything you have with us would be 105% collateralized.
And what's the charge?
Well, it'll be, you're paying us to manage the money, so we'll build that into whatever it is. Usually, our cost to collateralization is somewhere around 20 basis points. So, yeah, that means 0.2, okay? That means that in the event that Regions defaults, first off, your money won't be in the bank. It's not a bank deposit. So Regions could break off and fall into the river and float down the river. Trust assets are separate from that. They're invested in the markets.
Okay.
So there's a Chinese wall between the trust group and the bank group. So you won't have money, quote, in the bank, okay?
So that's 20% plus the 25%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Those are 40 basis
45%.
points, yeah, it's gonna be about 40 to 45 basis.
So if we're getting an interest of 2%, then.
You're gonna net
about
1.6,
160.
that's right, that's what you're looking at.
Okay, we just kinda need to, you know, so we
Yeah.
know, that's the main thing.
And I'll go back and we'll run all those numbers and get you the best we can, but, it's,
Show us what your costs are when you do this.
yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
What sort of laddering do you want on this and in what amounts?
It's flexible, we're
Yeah.
gonna look at the interest rates and see, go on kind of a
Do you want
case
the
by
whole,
case.
do you want us to?
I'll
do
build it out
5
10 years and we'll
million?
just put equal increments in 10 years and 6-month tranches. So every 6 months you'll have bonds maturing,
Right.
an equal amount. And then we can build it out and we'll start with, what, 5 million, is that what we're talking about?
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be in a chunk of 5 million. It can
No,
be-
I mean,
But yes, yes.
5 million total portfolio.
Up to, yes.
Now you have some CDs that may come due. We may do this
Put those in there as well.
as it comes.
To be honest with you, the amount of money really doesn't matter.
Right.
Because once we ladder out that portfolio, just like you're looking at here,
Mhm.
you can always buy more of this bond right here. We can go out and buy more of it. Now, the price that you pay for it might change based on whatever interest rates are doing at this time. So, he's telling you, see, he's
I think he
showing,
wants those bottom three though, he doesn't want to go any
I don't
further than
think we could
12,
go
right?
out to no more than 10 to 12 years.
well, that's what I'm gonna do
Okay.
10-year
Yeah,
portfolio, okay? But what I'm saying is, today, like, he's priced this at 100 at par. You could buy this same bond 6 months from now, but it may cost you 110, because interest rates go up. Or you can buy it 6 months from now